What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of The Legislative Director. Talking about legislative things. Here she is. It's summertime and the living's easy. Legislative Director Amber Marr. With her, as always, not the Legislative Director Jason Thompson. Amber, it's good to see you. Couple of things we got to talk about right off the top. First of all,
my hair?
We'll come to your hair if you want. we can jump to it now.
No,
if
you
want.
had it in order?
No, I didn't have any really order, but we can get to it. I was gonna first. We got a big day coming up next week. Is your birthday next week?
Like what big days next week?
we got a birthday coming up. So happy
Yeah,
early birthday because we're not recording next week, so we got to get that out of the way now.
No biggie.
Happy birthday! How old are you?
I am.
She's younger than me.
Listen,
She's younger than me.
I don't have a problem with age. However, I am not going to tell you mine.
That's fine. She's much younger than me.
Not much.
I know. Never ask a lady. That's why it's funny.
Oh.
See?
But I really don't mind. I would say it, except for I don't want to.
That's fine.
That doesn't
that's
make
allowed.
any sense.
That's allowed. And the other thing is, you said something about your hair, which I don't understand why we're talking about this.
Well,
why are we talking about this?
We might have a lot of longtime listeners or viewers that this doesn't look normal to them.
I think it looks great.
Because surprise, kind of like Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
My hair is actually curly.
Okay.
Everybody. Isn't that who
Sure.
came out and nobody knew her hair was curly?
Because she was always straightening it or something?
Because we always straighten it. You know, they always say you always want what you don't have. But I'm telling you, mine is not a nice curly. It's literally, it looks like, it literally looks like when a cat would cough up.
Okay, see, that's not even remotely
So
close
it's
to being
like
true.
placing a hairball on top of my head.
So what we're going to do right now, I never do this on the show, but in the comments, say what you think about Amber's hair. I think you give it a thumbs up, and people say if you want to see it again on the show.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't do it curly today. It got wet.
Okay.
So what happens is I had straightened it, it got wet, and this is what it looks like. If I actually try to do it curly, it's a little bit better, but not a lot. As most people who have curly hair, you can never make the same hairstyle twice because curls just don't do that.
Look, I'm jealous of not only the curls, but just the fact that you have hair.
I don't have a lot of it though.
That struggle's real up top over here. So
anyway, welcome. For those of you who wanted a little fun fact about myself, I actually have curly hair.
Yeah.
I straighten it every day.
And like I said, put in the comments below whether or not you want to see this hair make an appearance again. I'm already voting yes.
Or you can tell everybody else that says it looks good that it doesn't. I'm fine with that too.
Okay. I think I'm going to win this one. Also, you might be looking at it like, hey, what's going on? This is a different setup.
Oh, yeah.
We are not sitting at a table.
Nope.
We are standing up because we are in a new office setting. And so this is the first time we're recording in this office setting. So we're going to see how this works standing up.
That, unfortunately, if you don't like it, we can't
That's
change
really
it.
That's a tough instant profanity here.
You can.
That is.
You can still comment though.
Yeah, you can. I don't know. It's kind of fun. You get a little bit more mobile.
I kind of feel like I have I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, I think
I have a little less space, but I like to stand, so it feels better.
This works out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some programming notes. Let's recap. We got Amber's birthday next week. Happy birthday, Amber. Put that in the comments below as well, because we're not recording next week. Comment also below. Keep the hair curly more times on the show, or her request is to say no to that and say that we're all full of it. And then the last thing is new location.
Yeah.
So that's a good
recap.
There's
a lot of adjustments.
A lot happening. A lot of changes, and that's okay. Change can be good. No? Maybe?
Change can be good.
Maybe not this one.
Takes a little bit. No. Just all of it at the same time with this hair, I think is a lot.
What happened?
All right.
Let's get into it.
You didn't come here to listen to us talk about hair in the new place.
This is true.
Or my birthday.
Well, I added that one at the last minute. They usually come here for weather reports.
Oh, that's right. I did say I got rained on today, so it did rain. Today is what day?
Today is, we're recording this on Thursday.
It rained. was not supposed to rain today, but it did, and now the sun is out. I think it's going to be sunny for the rest of the time. And in our new location, well, this isn't technically my spot where I get to sit, but we do get to see a really nice
windows.
Yeah.
Windows are nice.
View.
We got a park across the street.
Yeah.
Some trees.
It's really great. You get to see a couple dogs every once in a while.
The windows open.
Yes.
Which is kind of different for a building.
Yeah.
Testing it out, seeing what's going on.
Okay.
Let's
so there was your weather report.
There we go. Thank you for being here for these updates. For those of you that have still stuck around and want to hear about some legislation, we're going to get into it now. Today's theme are bills that didn't make it through the process, 2 of which we're bummed about, 1 of which we're completely fine with not making it through the process.
Right.
So let's start with Senate Bill 317, healthcare debt and costs.
Yes.
Amber, we talked about this earlier, way back when during session.
I know. Even I'm trying to remember.
I couldn't even remember when we talked about it. It's probably like episode 5 of this season.
Well, because it actually was defeated before the changeover.
Yes.
So if you remember what happened, the bill actually moved out of committee. Senator Cadora and Senator Charbonneau, excuse me, were both very adamant about moving this forward, which was great. We testified in committee and it passed out of committee. Don't have it here. But I think it was unanimous.
Yeah, they amended it and then it passed unanimously out of committee.
Then I believe you heard me say, we were working it. I think even Senator Charbonneau was a little surprised because it was defeated on the floor 23-26. Now, this bill would have had hospitals, because we're talking about healthcare debt. The bill would have limited the amount a hospital payment plan could demand from a patient. So monthly payments could not exceed 10% of the patient's household income. Payments had to be spread out over a 24-month period. They had to be clear about the financial assistance that they could provide them. So, the billing statements had to have their financial details if they obviously they have one, but they don't always talk about it, or it's not always very well known. So individuals that may not be able to afford their healthcare costs, they would not know that. So this is trying to get more of that information and education out there. Let's see. I think that was a big portion of it, is just making sure that people could split up their payments, that they knew that the hospital had a breakdown like that. And just if they were eligible, they were supposed to make sure that they offered that assistance to ensure that they could take advantage of it if they needed to. So we talked about this, then it went to the floor out of the blue, 23-26. But I think it was a bit of a targeted.
Yeah, it was maybe some folks wanted to, I don't know. I don't know if send a message is the right thing, but maybe they just picked one out that was just like, I don't know.
I think hopefully over the interim and moving into the next session, we can gain a little traction on this topic.
Yeah.
I think we wanted to we can give some of these stats here, but more than 44% of people aged 50 to 64 and 22% of people aged 65 and older carry medical debt.
That's all. I mean, that's a lot.
So we know that this can really put a detriment on someone's regular living budget. And so we, from an ARP perspective, come into that conversation from that viewpoint. Then it says, let's see, what else do we have that I didn't mention? Oh, the threat of medical debt can also, for older Hoosiers, can make them not want to seek medical care. That was the other thing. So anyway, we are very supportive of this. We will continue to talk about this, but this did not make it through for a plethora of reasons. Hopefully in the future, we can bring in some of those legislators that had voted against it to kind of get them to be more supportive of this topic.
We'll give it a go next time. So that was a bummer.
Yes, it was not good. But we worked with a lot of other community partners. Yep. There were a lot of people involved in this. So shout out to everybody that worked on this. I know that there was just a lot of effort that went in at the first half of session.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Well.
Oh, and I think just as a reminder, when something is defeated on the floor, you cannot put that language anywhere else. That is the downfall. So if Senator Cadora had just let the bill stay on the calendar and let the deadline kill the bill, we could have tried to put this language in something else.
Yeah.
But when it's defeated, you cannot use that same language. So that's why we didn't try to find another home for it.
Okay. Well, let's keep the bad news rolling. And let's talk about Senate Bill 513, which we have talked about a bunch on this show this year, and that was the State Administered Retirement Program.
Excuse me.
And that was, tell us about it.
Yes. So Senate Bill 513, the State Administered Retirement Program, Senator Becker was a huge advocate and was the author of pushing this bill forward along with Senator Greg Walker and Senator Alteen. This would have established the Hoosier Crossroads Retirement Program, creating a public-private partnership retirement savings account to help workers who otherwise do not have access to employer-sponsored retirement. This bill did not receive a hearing. However, it will provide a way for workers to save on the job is something that has been important to us for numerous years, at least for as long as I've been here and way before. So we've been trying to get this pushed through for a number of years, but we were still unsuccessful this year, but that doesn't mean we're not going to continue to talk about it, because we do believe that individuals that do not have access through their work, they just, most of the time, they don't save for retirement at all. We know that if it's offered through their job, they are exponentially, what's the word I'm looking for?
More likely to participate?
Let's say that. Yes. So we met with the treasurer during session. We were really hoping to try to get a study put into the budget. That also didn't work, but it seems as though that the treasurer was very supportive of it. So we are going to continue to try to meet with him throughout the interim, moving into next session, although it's not a budget session. So, but we just want to make sure that we can keep this issue alive. We know that here, let's see, 886,000 workers earning $53,000 or less lack a program through their employer to save for retirement.
It's a lot of folks.
Yes. And we also know in some of the small businesses, they can't afford to offer that retirement program. So this would be through the treasurer's office, but it would be a public-private partnership where a third party would then manage these funds. So we think this is still very important. We were sad to see that even the discussion around having a study didn't get any traction, but we will continue to work with Senator Mishler. Obviously, Senator Becker is still on board to bring this back. And then hopefully the treasurer can be a part of this as well.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Well, so that's a bummer. But now let's talk about a bill that didn't make it that we're not sad about. That didn't make it.
Yes.
And that is House Bill 1174, charges for supervised loans.
Folks that have listened to us in the past will know that this is not just from this session, but from many sessions before this one, that we are consistently trying to not let this move forward. House Bill 1174 would have created a new longer-term loan that was loaded with service fees in addition to interest and other charges. For example, on loans up to $5,000, the borrower would have paid up to $200 per month. It would have also allowed lenders to raise interest rates on very large loans, such as car loans that are currently at 25%. It would have raised it to 36%. So let me say that again. It would have raised a car loan that normally in 25% right now seems too high to me anyway, but they were going to move, this bill would have moved it to 36%. Now, this bill narrowly passed the House, 51-46. So it did go through House committee. It did pass out of the House floor. Yeah. However, I do need to say the speaker rarely takes a vote on things. This was one of those that he decided to vote in favor of, which moved it forward.
Yeah, so that it had a constitutional majority.
Yes.
I believe is what it's called.
So it did move to the Senate. We worked this issue during our coffee cart or our legislative day at the State House, which was, I'm trying to think of what month now.
Was it March, I think?
Okay.
I think that was March. Yep.
It's too long ago.
Yep.
But we were able to touch base with Senator Baldwin, who was very wonderful for us to talk to him about this bill because it was in his committee and he was a sponsor of it. So moving forward from all of the efforts that we did, our volunteer legislative team worked the issue. A lot of our community partners worked the issue. Actually, it showed up on the agenda for Senator Baldwin's committee.
Briefly.
And then it was removed. So it did not get a hearing, and it died in the Senate. We had to be very diligent about watching the conference committee bills, because we were really not wanting to miss that they were going to try to shove it into another bill. However, it did not, and we were very grateful that this did not move forward. So we did want to say thank you to Senator Baldwin. I think he listened to a lot of his constituents, including our volunteer legislative team and just other community partners, because I don't think even at the beginning he was super supportive of the high rates in the bill. I think he was really trying to work. He was going to work on getting those down.
It sounded like wasn't very comfortable with the fees that were involved with it as well. So there was a lot of things nobody liked about this bill.
And I think he just didn't feel like there was enough time.
Yep. So.
But we appreciate him and everyone else, and Representative Teshka. He was the author. He listened to us as well. We understood where he was coming from, but we just really felt that this was going to be a detriment to Hoosiers and their financial security.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good work.
Yeah.
And helping to get that thing killed.
It was really a big thing.
So that's all the bills that we've talked about, and all the bills that we're going to talk about from this past session. We have recapped.
That was it.
Them all.
Oh, this hair. I can't. And when I look over, I'm like, how am I even doing this right now? We're gonna keep moving.
I think it's great. I think it's great. So other items that we want to talk about real quick. Okay. Our legislative team was here. I say here, but it was virtually. We met with them last week, where we chatted with friend of the show. I don't know if he's a friend of the show. He's a friend of yours.
I don't think he is.
He's a friend of yours.
He might listen. I don't think so.
I don't know, but maybe now he will. We had your friend.
He can only take so much of me. I'm consistently bothering him. Let's not try to get him to listen to
you had your friend on. Let's talk about what he was on, who it was, and what he was here to talk about.
So, as you know, this past session, even though you said we were not going to talk about any other bill.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about it before.
Yes, but we did. Senate Enrolled Act 1, which was the property tax bill, and we were supportive of the, I am literally
deferral
program, the property tax deferral program. But there was so much more in Senate Enrolled Act 1 than just the deferral program. So we wanted now that session is over, we understand that there's a lot of education that needs to happen to help people understand what this is going to look like over the next couple of years, because what is in Senate Enrolled Act 1 will actually, what did we say? It's for property taxes 2026.
Yes.
Pay 2027. So this is going to be talked about, and who knows what's going to happen in the 2026 session, because we understand that there are maybe some more changes coming. So Ryan Hoff from the Association of Indiana Counties has been amazing. If you watched our property tax forum at the beginning of the year, he was also on that.
Yep.
But it's because they really have their finger on the pulse as to what this is going to look like for counties, for individuals, for homeowners, for business owners, for blah, 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 because this is going to have a trickle-down effect. So he helped out by trying to explain what these property tax bills, I say bills because remember there was another bill passed after Senate Enrolled Act 1 was signed by the governor that had to do some cleanup language, and I cannot remember what it was.
1420 something, maybe. Maybe it's 1420 something. Go back. Is it on there?
No. Is it?
Yeah, it might be something in there.
You think?
Maybe. We're gonna look this up real quick.
No,
didn't put it in there.
It's 14.
See if I can find it real
quick.
Okay,
well, can you look that up while I finish this?
Okay. I'm gonna look that up for you.
So I think that what we wanted everyone to take away from our volunteer legislative team meeting is that there is so much that's going to be happening. And it's really hard just for a regular citizen to understand what all of these changes are going to look like and how those changes are going to actually affect them or not affect them. So 1427.
Yep.
Okay. It was House Enrolled Act 1427 that had some of that cleanup language in it. But we just wanted to give a shout out to Ryan. He did a phenomenal job. He spent a really long time with us. I mean, it's not the first time, or it's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time.
I was going to say, it's for sure not going to be the last time.
And it also wasn't the first time that he has helped us. But this will not be the last time that he has to explain this to us. And you might see him later in the future on some of other stuff, because he's just such a wealth of knowledge, and I would say an expert in some of this. And citizens need to know, because it's going to affect everybody differently.
Yep.
Even in different counties. So just wanted to give a huge shout out to Ryan.
Ryan, thank you. Good dude. Appreciate your expertise in talking to the legislative team. So it was great to see the legislative team. Though, look, this isn't supposed to be a downer of an episode. We talked about bills that didn't pass, and now we're going to talk about a legislative team member who is leaving the team because she's moving out of the state to be close to some family, and so we're super bummed about it. Yes. Diana on our legislative team, we're going to give her a quick shout out. We're going to do a little maybe a highlight reel in a future episode to show our appreciation for Diana. But in the meantime, we just want to say thank you for your time on the team, and we're going to miss you.
Yes, we will miss you greatly. This was her last legislative team meeting this past time. So
look, it's but we'll just want to give her a quick shout out, and more to come on that.
Yes.
A couple of other things that have happened in the last.
So thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana. Yes. The last couple of things we want to go over. Amber has been out on the lecture circuit on panels and work groups and all sorts of things. And let's talk about a couple of those that you, because one of them is connected to legislation that we've talked about already before. Some yellow dot training.
Yes, and I
remind folks about that yellow dot bill.
So. During this process of House Enrolled Act 1297, which is the Yellow Dot program, or it's titled the Motor Vehicle Medical Information Program, we partnered with the Indiana Association of Area Agencies on Aging, or I4A, and Hannah Carlock is their interim CEO. And so we have been working alongside her to sort of move this forward. We promised that we would help get the message out, to help with the educating, et cetera. So we are going to be going around to all of the 16 area agencies on aging, hoping to also meet with EMS along the way, or any first responders that would like to come and talk about this. And our first kickoff meeting was at Socoa. And we also had the EMS operations section chief there, and we were very grateful to have this discussion, because we wanted the Indiana Department of Homeland Security to be a part of this, and we did. We had a lot of people from Socoa. We had Hannah was there from I4A, and we had a lovely conversation about how this bill is going to be implemented, what we need from everyone. Because if you remember, the Yellow Dot program, you're going to be able to pick up this packet, whether you go to the BMV or whether you go to your local area agency on aging. And the packet will have some forms in it that essentially you can write down all of your medical information that will go in your glove box. And then you will have a yellow dot that will be placed on the back driver's side window, so that if you have anything happen to you while you're on the road, the first responders will know by that yellow dot to go get your medical information, so that they can better help you with whatever is going on. So we were talking about this. They asked a lot of great questions, things that we probably will have to follow up on, maybe even next year, for a little bit of a cleanup of the bill. But we're really looking forward to this, and we just wanted to thank everybody. But we did do that at Socoa, and we are really excited to have that conversation, especially with their new CEO.
So more to come on that as you continue to talk about that and travel around the state. And then lastly, you were on a panel.
Yes.
The United Ways.
Sorry, I didn't say her name.
Oh.
Robin from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, the EMS operations section chief. And I did not say her name. So I wanted to give a shout out. Sorry. And I was just making sure I had it right. Okay. So yes, then last week I also joined a fellow colleague of mine from the hallway at the State House Morgan, and we did the United Way of Central Indiana sector call. We sat on a panel together around, it was called Policy Pulse, Adapting to Change in a Dynamic Landscape. And we essentially just talked about how we advocate. And it was a really great discussion. We had some really great questions. And I just wanted to say thank you to the United Way of Central Indiana, as well as Morgan, because I thought it went really well.
Friend of the show, Morgan.
Yes. Well, is she?
I don't know.
Everybody's
a friend of the show.
I don't know. They really do.
Friend of yours and mine.
Yeah. We've known her for a really long time. We go way back. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, good work on all these things.
So,
And that's recapping everything. But now we're moving to everybody's favorite part of the show, Fast Facts.
Oh, yes.
With Anna. Anna, hello.
Hi, Anna.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm fantastic. What are your thoughts on Amber's hair?
Oh, whoops.
I think it looks great.
I'm saying, see?
Thank you.
I keep calling it Summer of Amber.
Yes. Summer of Amber.
Well, thank you, because you know what? Guess what I just heard? Not to put in another weather update, but I heard thunder.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
I didn't either.
Oh, maybe I made that up.
It's all in your head.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the big board right there. Amber has retaken the lead, up by 1.5 if my math
17.
is correct. So I got some work to do here.
Yep.
You can have a snack. Amber's reaching for a snack.
We're gonna have to be doing the scoreboard, so I'm gonna get a sweet tart.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Anna, what are we talking about today?
Today, we've covered some other types of debt, I think, in our Fast Facts, but today we're going to talk about medical debt.
Okay.
So, we have 3 questions. They should go pretty quick.
Multiple choice, all of them?
Start. No. No. So, for the first one, according to the Indiana Capital Chronicle, what percentage of Hoosiers are uninsured?
Oh, mine might be too high. Let me start over.
I don't know. Like, you might be spot on. Now you got me thinking maybe I should do something else.
Not that I'm cheating, but
no, not that you saw that or anything like that.
Well, you weren't hiding it.
I know I wasn't.
That's not my fault.
Is that how cheating works? If they don't hide it, it's okay.
It is. That's usually it's your fault.
Listen, it was right in my line of vision.
I'll put it back on there.
I'm not gonna guess that.
Okay, that's fine.
What I had was way.
I thought you were saying that because you had written down the same thing.
No.
No. Don't be so offended by my answer.
I think maybe I should go with. All right.
I was going to say that.
Because you know why? You know what I did have?
There we go. So there you go.
I had that.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with this.
All right. Let's have it. I put 17%, which is probably low.
I had 27.
All right. So luckily you were both high. Oh. It is around 7%.
Oh,
so about 451,000 Hoosiers are uninsured.
I don't know what it says about us that we thought it was higher because we just assumed that.
I just assume people
aren't getting the health insurance.
It's a lot of people. The percentage may not be as high as you thought, but it is still a lot of people. It's almost
I agree completely. Okay, well, no points awarded on that.
Yeah, no points on the first one, but this kind of leads into some of these questions. These last 2 questions. So.
Okay.
According to the Baker Institute at Rice University, what percentage of Indiana families have medical debt in collections?
So what percent of families have medical debt in collections?
And I thought these questions were a good
back with this one.
Highlight of how important it is that we pay attention to these topics.
You're gonna go high?
I don't know.
Maybe I should go back to mine of this one.
No, I'll go low.
Go with your gut.
Okay, I'll stick with that.
That's why I said 20%.
27.
27. All right. And the answer is, again, luckily a little bit lower. So for the whole state, it's about 16%. But in the rural counties, it is a higher percentage. So you guys were close for the rural counties, which is about 28.
Hey, I was plus or minus 5 for the rural.
And I was plus or minus 5 for the 16. So
Yeah.
Just wash it.
Is it?
JT does get a point for that one.
What about me?
Do you want to? We'll give you a point for rural, I guess.
You can give her half a point.
Why do I get a point? That's not fair.
Okay, you get a point. That's fine.
I mean,
that keeps the score the same as it is.
Does keep the score
right.
the
That's
same.
why I'm like, it's a
Difference.
wash.
Okay. Well, either way we go.
Fine, add the point just so you didn't feel like you got a point.
No, I don't want your pity point.
Well, I don't want your half a pity point. I get a full point.
Okay. Full points all around.
Right.
Anna, let's put it this way. However you were going to do that, just do it. But I feel like I have 27% and I was the rural counties.
Okay.
That should count. I agree.
Look, I'm on board.
You want to leave the rural counties out?
Did not say that. Okay.
That's
so last question.
Okay.
According to the Urban Institute, how much does the average family with medical debt and collections owe? So if you're within $100, we'll give you a point. So if you have medical debt and collections, how much do you think you owe?
This one's rough. I'm going to go with it anyway.
Okay.
I'm in between the 27s and the 47s today.
Today thinks
it's the curly hair. I blame it.
I put $1,200.
I put 4,700.
47. And what'd you say, JT?
$1,200.
1,200? Okay. The answer is 1,400.
Oh my gosh. Well, it only
so close.
100. Sorry.
So I think this goes to show that it doesn't take much for these medical bills to be a problem for individuals.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That's a really great point, Anna.
To keep in mind. Because I think when a lot of people think about medical debt, and especially medical debt and collections, they think of really high numbers or people that have gone through extensive or complicated treatments or things like that, or have very specialized cases. But it doesn't take much, and it adds up fast for people.
And that's something that we need to continue to point out.
Awesome.
Yes. So 1-1, score remains the same.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna. We appreciate you.
These were good questions today.
As always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think since you guys are done covering legislation, trivia might get interesting.
We might do a full
in the next couple weeks.
Ooh.
Full episode of we'll work on that. We might have an entire show of fast facts.
That would be amazing.
AARP fast facts.
We'll figure it out.
Don't do that because I may lose my job.
No.
If we get them all wrong.
The job. That's what we'll play for. Employment. Winner stays.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, those are high stakes.
Yeah, those are. We'll reconsider.
Yeah, we'll reconsider that.
We'll see what we have in the next couple weeks.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right. That's it. That's a wrap.
Good. Let's get this hair off the air.
Look at you. Look at you rhyming. I think that means we got to keep it.
I can't.
Okay.
It is not happening over here, but it's fine. Okay. So what's coming up?
Your birthday next week.
Stop. Okay.
She's celebrating her 29th birthday.
I'm forever 29. 29 was, that might be I would pick 30.
30?
To be forever age. I'd pick 30.
Well, you're almost there. next week.
That's funny. Okay, no, I meant like the schedule now.
Oh.
Like are we still doing every, we gotta let
people know. No, I think so. You're right. I think we are still going to try to keep the every other week schedule.
Oh, okay.
It's just, but stay tuned for programming notes. And if anything, we'll do kind of a short update to give everybody, because there's, vacations coming up and things of that nature in July and holidays and whatnot. So we will try to maintain this every other week schedule in the interim until things pick back up. Okay. And we'll wait and see with regards to, interim committees and things of that nature that are going to be happening.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. Are you looking something up?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I wanted to check one thing.
But in the meantime, that is kind of that's what the plan is. So stick with us, team.
Oops. Oh my gosh. Hold on.
Why is we're looking at this thing up?
Just a second. It's not coming up for me for some reason.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
We are going to see if there is any interim committee stuff.
I knew it was scheduled.
Okay.
Sorry, that's why I was worried.
So what's going on? What's the update?
The Legislative Council is meeting on Wednesday, June 25th.
That is next week?
Yep. And basically, while there's not an agenda, what they usually do is that they'll announce what interim study committees have been chosen.
Yep.
So that's at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, June 25th. If you would like to watch it virtually, you can go to the Indiana General Assembly website, and you can, on the day of when the meeting is happening, there'll be a live link, and you can click right there.
So yeah, we'll have that to talk about in 2 weeks, and other items, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that before we left, because this is the day after my birthday.
Yeah. See, that's so. Send your birthday wishes June 24th. This one right here.
Oh man.
Put it in the likes, comments, all those things, and wish her a happy birthday. Wish her great hair day, and then other things.
Don't worry, it will be back to straight. Well, I shouldn't promise that.
Yeah, don't promise it, especially if that's what the people want.
Because maybe I'll start to lean into it.
Lean into it. I'm with it.
No.
Okay. Well, Amber, thank you.
Thank you.
Work.
Thank you.
Hey,
thank
this
you.
setup, good job.
I actually didn't mind it.
Kind of like it.
I could eat some snacks.
Let's do it. You got snacks right off the way.
Yep.
It's pretty good stuff. All right. Well, we will see you next time on the Legislative Director talking about legislative things. Until then.